Hello there. The Bible says in Deuteronomy 8:18, and you shall remember the Lord your God, because he's the one that gives you the power to get wealth, so that he can establish the covenant that he has made, not just to yourself, but to your fathers. It is a privilege for me to be on the show with you today. My name is Pastor Joshua Adesanya, and I've come to understand something about life, that the quality of decisions people make in life is totally dependent on the quality of information that they possess. It gives me great pleasure to come into your homes this evening to talk about this topic of wealth creation. And today I have the awesome privilege of bringing into the studio an amazing gentleman that I met some few months ago, who has, in a way, revolutionized my thinking about wealth. Because I've come to understand and realize that, in as much as we have the scriptural principles of wealth creation, it is also good for us as Christians to be able to practicalize what we learn in Scripture. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to each and every one of you somebody I call an enigma, and is also a serial entrepreneur. Please join me as I welcome to the studio today Mr. Liju Thomas. Liju, it's a privilege to have you on the show today. Uh, Thank you so much for honoring our invitation for coming to the Wealth Creation in the Mind of the Entrepreneur program. So thank you so much for being here. And we've got some questions for you, and a lot of viewers out there would like to hear your views as well in terms of how you view wealth. But before we even start talking about wealth at all, I want you to tell us about Liju Thomas. So please tell us a bit about yourself, please.
Thank you, Pastor Joshua. An absolute honor and an absolute privilege to be here, to be talking to yourself and to everybody who's listening to this call. What is my background? A very ordinary man who was born and brought up in the Middle East, and grew up in my young ages in a very good family, a humble family, a Christian family with good values, and with good parents and a brother, and had the best childhood ever. A few years down, living in the Middle East is a life of luxury. My parents decide that they need to send me to one of the toughest parts of India, and the reason for that is just to learn what real life is all about. So after 15 years, went to India, lived a life of difficulty, let's put it that way. That's what made me who I am today.
Wow.
And many years ago, over 18 years ago, I came to the United Kingdom to complete my education in engineering, electronic engineering, and I graduated as an electronic engineer. And from that, made my way up all the way to today being an entrepreneur and speaking to you today.
Amazing. That's an amazing story. One of the things that actually caught my attention, you said when you moved back to India, you moved back to the toughest parts and all that. And I'm sure when you go to a place like that, it's almost difficult to dream, but you still want to dream anyway. You have a mindset of leaving this place and having a better life for yourself, I'm sure. So in that time that you were growing up in India, what did you aspire to be when you grew up?
You see, when I was young, I wanted to be. My ambition was to be Superman, because that's what I wanted to be.
Wow.
And then you grow up, and all those ambitions go out, and then you go to reality. And I want to be a pilot. And then, as you grow up, especially being as an Indian man, at that time you only had four choices. You're a Dell computer, you're DELL, either a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or loser. So that's what I had the choices to be. That's the choice I had. So in the 2 years of education, I decided that I know what I wanted to do something, and engineering was the thing that I really liked because I liked math, and that's how I come to the United Kingdom and learn a degree in engineering and become an engineer. But those 2 years of hardship really will define me as an individual, because when you're living in luxury, you really don't understand what life is really all about, and it's through the challenges and through the difficulties in life that you really learn to grow as a real human being. That's
amazing. Amazing. I mean, your story resonates with, I'm sure, a lot of people out there who grew up or have actually grown up in some kind of challenging circumstance, and they want more. You know, they want to do more for themselves, and they really, really want to change their story. And I'm really, really pleased for you, Liju, that you know you've been able to change your story, and God has actually helped you throughout your life's journey. So, in talking about your career, you did say earlier on that you studied engineering, and I'm sure that was obviously very, very exciting for you because you said you love math. So, what's been your career path to date?
So I came out of my degree in engineering. I got up. I worked as a senior engineer in an engineering company, and then from then, after working many years, I was headhunted into corporate management, and they saw that I had leadership skills, so I moved into that. And here's what I understood about careers. There's simply 5 different types of careers that most people go into. The first one is called a white collar job. That's when you have an office job or a managerial job and you're doing work that repeats itself every single day, what we call the normal 9 to 5. I did that. The next career that you have is a blue collar job. That's probably when you're self-employed or you are actually giving a service out to the community, like a plumber or an electrician. So I did that as well. The next one is sales. You go into a sales role, and I did that as well. And you've got targets, you've got commissions, and you do really well one time, and then the targets go up. It's not easy. The next thing that people normally go into is to investing, and that is you take a lot of money and you invest it into a project, and you want that money to return back as ROI, return of investment. I've done that as well, and you got to be really lucky and really good with what you're investing in. And then you got the 5th one is a traditional business owner. And I understood that business people or entrepreneurs make the most amount of money in the world. And so I wanted to be a business owner as well. And I did that. I borrowed all the money that I could and started my own traditional business and did that as well. But what I understood in the current climate, if you don't have a good mentor, if you don't have a good system, business is going to be tough. So I went through all 5 career aspects. And I did each and every one. So when I speak to someone, I relate with people because I've done all 5. Because that's what you're taught from a very young age. But here's what I did understand. This is after reading a book called The Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The world is divided into 4 quadrants. On the left-hand side is the employee and the self-employed person. On the right-hand side is the business person and the investor. 5% of the wealth in the world is actually owned in the 95% of where people are. That's the employee and the actual self-employed. And 95% of the wealth in the world is on the other side of the quadrant, that is the business owner and the investor.
Wow.
So I've wanted to go to the part where it's wealthy, because God wants us to be wealthy in this world.
That's right.
So I wanted to be wealthy, so I went into that segment, and I found it difficult and I found it very challenging, but that's what I wanted to be, an absolute entrepreneur. And after testing all of the actual quadrants and testing all of the different career options, I finally, over 6 years ago, I came across a system that is a business that gives you something called residual income. In whatever career that you are, you have only 2 types of income.
That's right.
One is linear income, where you are going to exchange your time for hours, your time for money. So if you go and do 30 hours or 20 hours, you get paid for those hours. But if you don't do those hours, you stop getting paid. 95% of people in the world are earning that kind of income. So in my job, I had to go and do 60 hours a week. I made money for 60 hours. But if I stopped doing those hours, I stopped getting paid.
That's right.
Then I came across the second type of income, residual income. The income that where you do something one time, but you get paid over and over and over for the work that you did one time. For example, when I buy my houses, I buy them one time, but then I get paid rent on them every single month. That's called residual income. That's called royalty income. And normally people who make them are authors who write a book one time and they get paid for their book over and over again. Actors make a movie one time and they get paid for the movie every time it's aired. Singers who sing a song one time, every time it's now sung, you get paid. Now, I don't have the talents of authors and actors and actresses, but what I found is a system that pays residual income. That's
Amazing.
Smart income. And that is where my career led to today. I'm an entrepreneur who earns residual income and teaches other people how they can earn residual income. And that's where I am today.
Amazing. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. Liju. Well done for that.
Thank you.
I mean, when you talk about career path, I know for some people, there's a love it or hated aspects of their career? More like Marmite, you know. Have you ever tasted Marmite before?
Oh, yes.
Amazing. I hate Marmite. You know, so the first time I tasted Marmite, I felt, nah, it's not for me. You know, so it's amazing that you would say, you talk about, you know, career path and your career progression, and now moving from one side of the quadrant to another. I mean, one of the things that really intrigues me, you know, when I look about, even when I look at Christianity, when I look at people who obviously want to move from one side of the quadrant to the other, and I'm wondering, are they really serious about that? So if you think about it, Liju, there must have been some aspects of love it or hate it in your career path. What do you love the most about your career in terms of what you're doing right now? What do you love the most about it?
Some people will think that the most important thing in life is money. Now, let me tell you something, money is important, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
Once you earn money, you'll find that that's not the most important thing that's going to give you happiness. But the lack of money is going to make you not very happy. Let's put it that way. So money is important. Why is money important? But it gives you choices. But if you look at a career aspect, what is the best things that you would want? If you were to design your career today, if you were to write down a list of everything that you would want in your perfect career, what would you write? This is the things that I wrote down. Number one, no boss. I didn't want to work for somebody who tell me when to wake up in the morning, when I should go to the bathroom, when should I take my holidays, and dictate my life.
That's right.
So number one, no boss. Number two, no fixed hours, 9 to 5. I work in my own time. I use my own time. Number three, I don't like monotony, going to the same place to work every single day, doing the same thing, and literally living your life without any kind of excitement. So I want an exciting life. Number four, the world. You get to travel the world in your career. See, someone comes to me and I look at that person, and if I want to make a judgment of that person, if that person really lived life, I say, show me your passport. Because the pages on your passport will really tell me if you're really living the world or traveling the world and living the life. Because the world is an amazing, God created an amazing, amazing planet Earth. And there's so much that's there to see. And if you have a work or you have a career that allows you to travel around the world, see the beauties of all the things around and the different kinds of people, there you go. That's going on your perfect career list. Next one, residual income. Income where you work smart. You're doing something once and you get paid over and over again. The next thing on the list is leverage. What does leverage mean? Where it's the first billionaire in the world said this, John Paul Getty. You see, it's better you make 1% on the efforts of 100 people than 100% of your own efforts.
Amazing.
See, when you listen to successful people, you become successful. So that's called leverage, where all the income that you're earning is not just from your own efforts, but from the efforts of a lot of people that you are helping. What else will come on that career? Family life, where you get to spend more time with your family, where you get to see your family's faces more than your boss's face. What else? No targets. What else? There's no lack of money, and there's no lack of time. See, there's no point in having money and not having the time to enjoy the money that you're making.
That's right.
So in your perfect career list, when I looked at the perfect career list, I put all of this down, and it all came down to the one system that I found. And that system gives you all of this. Do you have to work hard? Absolutely, because the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. But you get proper job satisfaction. Today I go to bed, with satisfaction, and I work up with determination, because this is what I believe. When a 4-letter word called work, W-O-R-K, becomes a 3-letter word called joy, J-O-Y, you will never have to work a day in your life ever again.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, that's very insightful revelation you just talked about there. I mean, amazing. You must definitely love what you do.
Absolutely.
And I feel that. I can definitely feel the energy, definitely. So, I mean, I look at people, how they determine, to do something, and they actually do it. And from everything you've said so far, Liju, I mean, I see you as a very, very determined person. I mean, even in the times that we've actually known each other, I see that you've got a very, very strong work ethic, and it's even one of the major reasons why I just had to have you on the show today. It's amazing. And I know something, Liju. I've heard this said before, that when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable.
Absolutely.
So people go through life abusing themselves
Yes.
without knowing.
Mhm.
Yeah? They take on jobs they don't like, and interestingly, the job doesn't like them back.
Yeah.
You know, they take on, they end up working on the bosses they don't like,
Absolutely.
and interestingly, the boss doesn't like them either. Obviously looking for a way to get them fired. And people have to keep doing this thing. I see it as drudgery, to be honest with you, where they have to keep doing things over and over again, obviously just because they want to put food on the table one way or the other. But I believe that there's always a greater purpose
Absolutely.
to everything. There's always a greater purpose to everyone's life. And if there's any one thing I personally always, allude to when I meet someone, I want to find out whether they've got vision, whether they've got purpose. So for the purpose of our viewers, millions of viewers watching us all over the world, Liju, please tell us, what is your vision and purpose in life?
See, my favorite song in my life is called Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was blind, but now I see. You see, the problem that I had is I went down the normal course of life. Went down schooling, and then I went down an education, and I got a degree. And you see, many years ago, that is what worked, because you go and take an education, you get a good job. Today, that's not the case anymore. I came out with a degree and a big bill of over 40,000 pounds in student loans debt. Before I started my career, I was already in debt. See, I didn't know there was another way. And then I go down the job route, and the job route was go and get a job, do the hours, and get as much money as you can. What next? Get a better job, and do the hours, and get as much money as you can. What next? Get another job. And you see, I didn't know this is what I thought the path is, till I started to read the books that's written by successful people around the world.
That's right.
You see, there's nothing new about success. There's nothing original. Everything is out there. And I read the books, like apart from my favorite book, the Bible, where it teaches you how you can use the wisdom. But there are other books out there that open your mind. For example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Compound Effect, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. When you read books like this, all of a sudden, you understand the fact that you've been blind all your life, because it is never taught in schools and it's never taught in universities today on how you can earn wealth, how to become an entrepreneur. I didn't have a class in my education where it said Entrepreneur 101 or Money 101. It wasn't there. See, they don't teach you in school how to make money. And that's the reason why I was blinded till I started to read the books, till I started to open my mind, and I saw there is another way out there. So today, if you ask me what my vision is this, my vision is this: I want to give sight to the blind. Not just from a biblical perspective of showing salvation for life, but I want to show you economic salvation. The Bible, my spiritual mentor says this, and this is what he said: God never made tables or chairs. He only made trees. But the ones who had wisdom converted the trees into tables and chairs and earned wealth from it. See, Proverbs 22 chapter 2 says this: there's only one thing common between the poor and the rich, that God made them both. So if you are born in this world, you see, you need to have sight. And you talked about wisdom. You see, what I see the difference between knowledge and wisdom is, you can read all the books, you can read everything that you want about how to create wealth, but wisdom is applying that knowledge.
That's right.
And when you're given a system, you need that work ethic to apply that knowledge. And if you apply the work ethic in the right system, you are going to be wealthy. And my vision today is to make the blind see that there is another way. Amazing. Where you don't need a lot of money to start a business. Awesome. You don't need a lot of intelligence. You just need to follow a system and a path. And that's what we're here for.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Liju, for that. So, talking about people seeing, because we're really, really pressed for time right now, what do you then think is the number one challenge that people are facing? Let's just deal with that really quickly.
Today, number one challenge is this: what are we going to do with all the people who are going to be unemployed because of automation?
That's right.
The biggest problem in the world that's going to come. Because every single day you look at the newspapers, it's not the small companies going down, the big companies going down. 10 years ago, 10 nurses doing the job. Today, 3 nurses doing the same work. What are we going to do with all the unemployed people who's coming out and they don't have a job. That's the biggest challenge.
That's the biggest challenge. Now, looking at the biggest challenge, somebody sees a challenge, right? And then they now determine, okay, I want to do something about this challenge, right? And they pick up something. Say, for instance, they pick up a system,
Yeah.
and they decide to work the system, and then all of a sudden they think, oh, the system is too hard for them, and they quit. I mean, seriously, why do you feel they quit?
Simply because we live in a microwave society. People want things fast. You want to go put some popcorn in a microwave, you get popcorn fast.
Amazing,
You want to
yeah.
put food in the microwave, you get it fast. Wealth building is not microwave mentality type. You need to have long-term vision, combine that with work ethic and a good system. People quit because they don't get quick results, quick money, quick everything. You see, there's so many pills out there. Eat this pill and you will lose 10 kilos.
That's right.
Take this lottery and you'll become a millionaire. That doesn't work. There is no magic pill. It's work ethic in the right system. That's why quitters never win and winners never quit.
Amazing. I've heard you say that so many times, and it's amazing. I mean, great minds think alike.
Absolutely.
So, quitters never win, winners never quit, right? That's one thing we've learned. That's one, mantra that we live by. Even as Christians, we don't quit anyway. We don't quit in the race of Christianity. You don't say that because other people are quitting, or even when they decide to backslide or even stop being Christians, you don't want to do that. So I want to ask you this question, Liju. How do you then teach people to deal with money?
Very simple. It's by one of my mentors, Mr. Eka. How do you deal with money? Teach money from a very young age to your children. And this is the way to do it. I'm going to give it a very simple illustration. If you get 10 pounds, divide the 10 pounds. Put 1 pound in a jar that's called giving. The second pound, put it in a jar called tithing.
That's right.
The third pound, put it in a jar that's actually called investment, where you actually put not 1 pound but 2 pounds in the investment jar. So you got 1 plus 1 plus 2. The next jar, you want to give it charity. And the other 5 pounds, you put it in a jar for expenses. So whatever you earn, whatever money you make, 50% is for expenses. Some people say, I can't live on 100%. Well, then take away your expenses. What are you spending money on? The TV channel that you're subscribing. Get rid of that. 5 pounds for expenses. The other 5 pounds, 1 for giving, 1 for offering, 2 pounds for tithing, and the other 1 for charity. When you manage your money like that from a very young age, you will grow up to become a really big entrepreneur. The giving jar you open once a week, give it out. The tithing jar you open once a month, you give it out, that's to God. The offering jar, you give it out to someone. You offer that when times of need. The investment jar, you open up when it's full and you invest it, whatever it may be. Even if you're a child, go and buy some lemons and a mixer and make lemonade and sell it out. Use the investing jar to make money. And you know what? Even if the child fails, not a problem. The child is learning, because failure is not failure. Failure is FAIL, first attempt in learning.
Come on now, that is amazing. Liju, look, from everything you're saying, it's really touching me right now. It's touching the right places, and I'm sure that millions of our viewers out there, I believe that everything that Liju is saying is really touching the right place right now. And I'm sure majority of you that are listening right now, watching us actually, you would want more information. So Liju, I mean, how can people reach you? How can they contact you if they want more information based on what we're sharing today in terms of how we can give them more information?
Very simple. My vision is to make people who are blind in money to see. So get in touch with the email address that's on the screen right now. The number is there, info@buildwealthnow.co.uk. Get in touch and let me teach you a way of how you can actually build wealth now alongside your full-time job, alongside where you can create wealth in a system. Do get in touch, and Pastor Joshua is there to help you as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. I mean, you've heard it from Liju, and we're going to round up the show right now. Entrepreneurship in the mind, building wealth in the mind of an entrepreneur. We'd like to end this show by just playing you a short video which explains in a way what Liju has been talking about today. Liju, thank you very much, and God bless you, and hope to see you again soon on the show. God bless you.
Thank you.
I have found that successful people grab an opportunity when they see it, and they never quit. I made that decision. It changed my life. Today, a life of freedom, spiritual freedom, and financial freedom. When I became a regional vice president, I got to share my story with thousands of people, where I give 26 reasons of why it should be you. Thank you.
Do it for A, Almighty God who put you on this planet to live as a legacy, not just live and die and pay bills. Do it for B, becoming the best version of the person that you can become. Do it for C, the charity that you support, who fed 1 million meals to hungry children last year. Do it for D, the destiny that you'll design, but deleting the devastating effects of debt in your life. Do it for E, the excuses that you'll stop making, that only sound best to the person who makes them, but are the nails that are used to build a house of failure. Do it for F, the freedom that you would have fought as you focus like a laser and not a flashlight. Do it for G, Gandhi's words that you will prove. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Do it for H, the humility you will develop of a servant leader who serves a team and not just manage it like a boss. Do it for I, the inspiration that you'll become to individuals who will one day look at you and say, because of you I didn't give up. Do it for J, the joy of being motivated and not manipulated. Do it for K, to kick out the toxic people who live rent-free in your head. Raise the rent and kick them out. Do it, do it. Do it for L, the leader that you'll become who leads by example and create more leaders and not followers. Do it for M, the mindset you will develop of a rich person who digs for gold and not a poor person who thinks about the price of the shovel. Do it for the N, the naysayers and the dream stealers who look at you and say, you can't, and you turn around and say, watch me. Do it for O, the opportunity of a lifetime that is being gifted to you that will make you ordinary to extraordinary. Do it for P, the professional that you'll become through practice that makes not perfect but better, as practice is the price that amateurs pay to become professionals every single day. Do it, do it, do it. Do it for Q, the quitter that you will not become, who's never remembered, as you prove that quitters never win and winners never quit. Do it for R, the respect that you will gain, as respect is not taken but earned. Do it for S, the strength that you will develop not by lifting weights, but by lifting yourself up every time you wake up, every time you lift yourself up. Do it for T, the team that you will develop, as you prove teamwork makes the dream work. Do it for you, the unique personality that you will be, who lightens the room as you enter and darkens it as you depart. Do it for V, the values and pillars our co-founders, Greg, Mike, Tony, Rob, build this business on. Vision, ambition, integrity, opportunity. Do it for W, the work ethic that will give you willpower, the wings of an eagle who flies above the crowd of doubt. Do it for X, the extra vision that will make you a visionary, who's initially ridiculed but then revered. Do it for Y, the youth that you radiate through your attitude that determines your altitude. Finally, do it for Z, the zeal that you will have of a free king and not a bound slave who does this